Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something fascinating, the art of selling without actually selling. We're going to break down some seriously powerful communication techniques that'll help you persuade anyone with any idea, product, or service. And the best part, it often feels like it was their idea all along. Let's get right into it. Okay, so this quote right here, this is the core paradox we have to wrap our heads around. The second somebody feels like they're being pushed into a sale, you know what happens. The walls go up. We get defensive instinctively. So the real art is making your message feel like a discovery, not some canned pitch. So the secret isn't to just stop selling. Not at all. It's about learning to stop sounding like you're selling. It's about having a real strategy, one that uses outreach and storytelling to plant an idea, so your audience is open and receptive, not guarded. I mean, think about it. You know that classic, overly enthusiastic sales voice? The moment we hear it, we just tune out. The goal here is to be way more subtle. It's like you're planting seeds and just letting these amazing ideas grow on their own in their minds.
Every truly powerful message, and I mean everything from a killer business presentation to a video that goes viral, is built on three essential pillars. Understanding how to mix these together is really what separates good communication from truly great communication.
You know, this is really where the magic happens. You don't just throw a fact out there, you explain why it matters, and then you wrap it all up in a story that connects with people on an emotional level. The best communicators aren't just one of these things, they're all three at the same time. So, for example, you could share a statistic about parents who play with their kids, right? Then you could explain the long-term impact that has on self-esteem. And then you could tell a really moving story about a father and his child. It's that combination, that's what makes a message unforgettable. Now, let's get into our first big technique. It's this incredible storytelling framework called the before-after bridge. You might also hear it called ADP, which comes from the Spanish antes, después, puente. It is brilliantly designed to create surprise and just hook your audience from the get-go. So what's so wild about this structure is that it completely flips chronological order on its head. You start with a problem, the before, and then you leap immediately to this dramatic, amazing result. The how you got there, that's the bridge, is the very last thing you reveal. See what that does? It creates this huge gap, this incredible contrast, and your brain immediately fires off the question, wait, how on earth did they do that? You're already leaning in, totally curious, before the bridge, the actual solution, is ever even mentioned.
You know, if you tell a story the normal way, first I started a diet, then I started exercising, our brains are already 10 steps ahead. We predict the ending, and honestly, we get bored. This method forces your audience to stay locked in because you've handed them a puzzle they just have to solve.
All right, building on that whole idea of surprising your audience, this next technique is going to feel a little backward, but trust me, it is so powerful. It's all about creating what we can call empathetic drama, by showing your own vulnerability and struggles to build a real, genuine connection. Okay, so this is a crucial point, and it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. People don't really connect with perfection. They connect with humanity. They connect with shared struggle. They want to see the messy journey, not just the polished, flawless victory at the end. So by sharing your failures, your sacrifices, all the tough moments, you actually let your audience feel a little bit superior. And weirdly enough, that lowers their defenses. It makes them way more open to your message because you're not posturing, you're just being real and vulnerable. And that right there is the key difference. Don't frame your success like it was some magic bullet. You want to show it as a hard-won victory that came from relatable human drama. That's what builds trust. That's what makes your story truly compelling. Okay, so now we know what kinds of stories to tell. But let's talk about how to tell them. How do you tell a story that your audience doesn't just hear, but actually sees and feels and remembers long after? Here's the thing about our brains. They don't really think in abstract data points. They think in pictures, in connections, in feelings. So if you want your message to stick, you've got to speak the brain's native language. And guess what? Great stories do this naturally. An audience can instantly picture and connect with the idea of a father or a teacher. But when you say CEO or corporation, it's just too abstract. We struggle to form that emotional link. So whatever you do, keep it human. This right here is a total game changer. Instead of just telling a story about someone else, like, he felt sad, you pull the listener in. You say, you feel the tightness in your chest. You hear your kids playing in the other room. See? You put the audience right there in the scene. Let's see this whole thing in action with a perfect example of a story that's visual and deeply emotional. It's a parable about two friends. One is super greedy, the other is super envious, and they meet a genie. So here's the dilemma. The greedy guy, of course, wants his friend to go first so he can get double of whatever he asks for. But the envious guy, oh man, he is just consumed by the thought of his friend getting more than him, even if they both end up winning.
What a shocking request, right? He is literally willing to be half blinded for the rest of his life just to make sure his friend ends up completely blind. This is a story you don't just hear, you feel it. The image, the emotion, it's so strong, you just can't forget it. And that's really the core lesson here, isn't it? The logical argument, the facts and figures, that stuff fades. But the emotional punch of a powerful, well-told story, that is what truly stays with us. It's the feeling that drives us to act.
So let's be super clear. All of these techniques, the before-after bridge, the empathetic drama, the visual storytelling, they aren't about deceiving people. Not at all. They're about connecting on a much deeper, more human level to help people truly understand the value of your idea. Because at the end of the day, logic might persuade someone's mind, but it's emotion that moves us to action. What people feel is what they remember, what they act on, and ultimately what they buy into. So the real question for you is, how are you going to make your next idea unforgettable?